The best rivalry in all of college softball at this very moment, it's OU Texas. This series in recent years has had pretty much everything you could ask for. Walk-off wins, games with conference titles on the line, games with national championships on the line, and maybe most importantly, some very, very spicy drama. It's been fun being an OU fan in this rivalry. Sure, Texas has won a few recently, but when the games have mattered, and I mean really mattered, OU seemingly always finds a way to beat the Longhorns. So I've got my 5 favorite OU Texas games of the Patty Gasso era, so be sure to include yours as well. Drop them in the comments, like the video, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and who knows, maybe we'll be talking about one of the games this weekend as one of the 5 greatest between these two teams. Let's start at number 5, June 8th, 2022, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. OU and Texas are playing in a Women's College World Series Championship Series for the first time ever. Just absolutely incredible. All the drama, all the suspense. And it was Texas who took the early lead. 1-0 lead on a bases-loaded walk in the top of the first inning. You know, you really wanted to strike first in this series. You always do in a championship series game. And OU was trailing before they even had a chance to pick up a bat. But as good as Texas fans probably felt in that moment, it was the last time they'd feel good all night long because the onslaught soon followed. The Sooners came right back with a Jocelyn Alo 2-run home run, followed by a Talon Snow home run, and before you knew it, it went from a 1-0 deficit to a 5-1 lead heading into the top of the second inning. But here's the thing. OU was far from being done. Far from it. OU scored in every single inning. And the beauty of this thing is that OU didn't score in every inning of a 5-inning game. No. Because of WCWS championship rules at the time, you played all 7 innings in a championship series game, regardless of the score. It was 6-1 Sooners after 2 innings, 10-1 OU after 3 innings, 12-2 Oklahoma after 4 innings, and 14-1 after 5 innings. It was over. It was complete domination. And all Mike White and Texas could do was sit back and watch it. OU added 2 more runs in the bottom of the 6th inning to mercifully bring the game to an end. OU won 16-1, and oh, it was glorious. Jocelyn Alo had 2 home runs. Tiari Jennings had 2 home runs. And all the Sooners had 6 home runs that night and finished the game with 16 hits. The Women's College World Series Championship Series rules would change shortly after, and now run rules are allowed. They're a thing in a best-of-3 series and a championship series. Which is why I and so many others call it the Mike White rule. And for that reason, that OU beat Texas so bad that they changed the rules and I get to call it the Mike White rule, that's the biggest reason why it comes in at number 5. At number 4, June 5th, 2024, let's go back to Oklahoma City. Game 1 of the Women's College World Series Championship Series. OU was gunning for its 4th consecutive title, but there were a lot of people that thought Texas was actually going to win this series. The Longhorns won the regular season series in Austin, but the Sooners got them in the Big 12 tournament championship game, meaning the two teams had split the 4 games against each other. Texas entered the postseason as the number 1 overall seed, while the Sooners entered as the number 2 overall seed. And the entire postseason, it just felt like these two teams were on a collision course for the championship series. And that's exactly what happened. Texas rolled to the championship series without a loss and an extra day's rest because OU had to play an if-necessary game against Florida. So there were a lot of comments going into the championship series of, well, Texas pitching is just set up better in this series, and they may even be the better team, therefore, they're going to win. Well, that thinking was just wrong. And Tiari Jennings let everyone know what was about to happen in the very first inning. With Jada Coleman on base, nobody out in the top of the first inning, Tiari sent an absolute shot that put OU up 2-0 in the game. The game wasn't over at that point, and the series wasn't over at that point, far from it. But it was a sign to everyone that, hey, we're still the champs, just in case you forgot. And to beat us, you're going to have to put together an incredible performance that we don't think that you're capable of. OU won 8-3 that night. They never trailed. Kelly Maxwell got the win on a complete game performance where she only allowed one earned run. But there was something about that Tiari Jennings home run, just something about that home run from Tiari in the first inning that felt like it set the table for the entire series. At number 3, April 1st, 2023, Norman, Oklahoma. A beautiful Saturday afternoon it was at Marita Hines Field. But it wasn't beautiful on the field for the Sooners for the first 6 innings. Mac Morgan in the circle for Texas kept OU off balance for the first 6 innings. And in the bottom of the 7th inning, OU actually trailed the game 3-1. Now, if you'll remember, the series kind of came on the heels of the Mike White comment about Patty Gasso and all the drama there. And you really wanted to not only win this series, but to sweep the series. So Texas was on the verge of tying this series up. OU needed 2 runs to push it to extra innings in the bottom of the 7th inning. Someone just needed to get on base so you could be 1 swing away to tie it with all those home run hitters in the lineup. Well, fittingly, it was Riley Boone who singled through the right side to lead off the inning, and then down 2 runs, 1 out, nobody on, bottom of the 7th inning, Jada Coleman delivered. She took a 1-1 pitch the opposite way to tie the game at 3. Marita Hines Field was an absolute madhouse, and yeah, we knew in that moment exactly how this one was going to end. Tiari walked, Haley Lee hit an infield single, and after a couple of more exchanges, the scene was set for Kinzie Hansen. On a 1-2 pitch, Hansen singled to left field, scored a run for a walk-off win. Texas thought they had it. They thought they had a huge win at Marita Hines Field. They were so close. But this program always responds. And that day, the Sooners didn't just take it to extra innings. They scored 3 runs to win the thing and needed just 1 out to do so. To me, it's maybe not the greatest finish that Marita Hines Field has ever seen, but it's certainly in the upper echelon, and it comes in at the number 3 greatest moment of the OU Texas series for me. Number 2, June 9th, 2022, back to OKC we go. Game 2 of the Women's College World Series Championship Series after the Sooners had just embarrassed Texas 16-1 the night before. And this one is particularly special because being an OU fan my entire life, I had never seen any team on campus win a national championship in person. I wanted that opportunity, so I drove to OKC, and I probably drove to OKC a little cocky that day because OU had just won 16-1 over Texas. Texas was just going to lay down, but that's not what happened. Texas jumped out, scored 2 in the first, and OU's bats were silenced through the first 3 innings. But even during all of that, Jada Coleman was doing, well, Jada Coleman type of thing. She was stealing the show defensively in the outfield with some incredible plays. But it all clicked in the 4th inning. The Sooners tied it at 2, then used a Kinzie Hansen 3-run bomb in the 5th inning to separate. OU continued to tack on runs, and then heading into the bottom of the 7th inning, OU led 10-2. And then maybe the most special moment of the entire night happened. It was Jocelyn Alo's last game as a Sooner. And obviously, Patty Gasso wanted to give her a chance to be recognized one final time by the Sooner faithful. She put her in left field, planned on taking her out of the game with 2 outs in the inning to get the standing ovation. But she never thought, nobody ever thought, that Jocelyn Alo was going to make a play in left field. Well, Jossie made not just 1, but 2 plays in left field. And at the time, you couldn't help but just laugh, but also get a little emotional as well. Perhaps the greatest player in OU history jogged off the field to a roar of applause after making back-to-back plays in left field. It was emotional. It was awesome. OU won 10-5 to clinch the national championship over Mike White, crying Mike White, and the Texas Longhorns. And I finally got to see an OU team win a national championship in person. What an incredible night it was. And at number 1, my favorite OU Texas moment of all time, June 6th, 2024, Oklahoma City once again. Game 2 of the WCWS Championship Series. The Sooners were 1 win away from the historic four-peats. Was OU going to throw Kelly Maxwell again, or would they save her until Game 3? No Maxwell to start. It was actually Carly Keeney getting the start. Patty shocked us all, surprised us all, but okay, let's roll and let's go win a game. Texas struck first in the second inning to take a 1-0 lead, but then OU came right back with a 2-run home run from Cassidy Pickering. But then Texas followed with runs the third and fourth, and OU found themselves down 3-2 in the fourth inning. But even without facing Kelly Maxwell, the Women's College World Series most outstanding player, Texas just couldn't separate, and OU hung around all game long. Carly Keeney pitched 2 2/3. Peyton Monticelli came in and got perhaps the biggest out of the entire game. Kirsten Deal pitched an inning. Nicole May pitched an inning and a third. Patty Gasso had a plan, and it worked out perfectly. In fact, I contend it's one of her greatest in-game coaching jobs ever, and maybe it's just the greatest of all time. The big moment offensively came in the bottom of the fourth inning when Sid Sanders hit a 3-run double in the bottom of the fourth to give the Sooners a 5-3 lead, and you knew in that moment how big of a hit it was because OU got the lead, and just get it to the seventh. Just get it to the seventh with the lead. Kelly Maxwell is going to come in this game, and she's going to close this thing out. Well, Texas tacked on a run in the sixth, but then OU came back with 3 huge runs in the sixth inning to build an 8-4 lead. With 2 outs in the sixth inning, Patty Gasso made the call. Kelly Maxwell was coming out of the bullpen, and it looked really, really cool when she did. By the way, it looked awesome. Like she does, Kelly Maxwell came in. She dominated an inning and a third. She got the 4-out save, just allowed 1 hit, no runs, and an incredible performance where OU pitched 5 pitchers in a Women's College World Series championship game, which had never been done before. The Sooners won the national championship and secured the four-peats with an 8-4 win. What a gutsy effort from the Sooners, and the beautiful thing about it, it took everyone. Literally, it took everyone in this game. There's a lot of great moments in OU Texas history, and there's going to be more to follow as well, but securing the four-peats against your bitter rival goes down as number 1 for me, and frankly, is going to be really, really hard to top. What's your number 1? Drop it in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. We'll talk soon.